Good evening, brothers, sisters, and gender norm resistors. It's time for some more Pirates of the Geek Vortex with me, your host, Olav, and the rest of the crew, who I think are ready, but I'm not entirely sure. I think they're still trying to work with some stuff here as far as getting everything. So let me just make sure here. Okay, it looks like everything's cool. Hello, everybody.
Hello!
All right, where is that coming through now? That was weird. All right.
What?
Something else was apparently was also, I don't know. It was kind of weird. To hear two of you at the exact same time.
Let me see if that's reverb on my end.
That might be, because I'm not seeing anything anywhere else where it would go.
Muting, go ahead and test.
All right, now it's still doing it.
Okay, my voice cancellation is working now.
No, I know what it is. It's on my end, and they can't hear it, only I can hear it. There we go.
Also, you may need to turn Nightkind's levels up a bit, but this, again, might be Discord screwing with us.
Yeah. I mean, I could hear you guys just fine earlier.
Right, but Nightkind's levels were a little low.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was actually, I had the voice chat going through my headphones as well, so it was like, oh, hey, I'm getting a double dose.
I've done that at the station.
So how has everybody been? I mean, besides, Discord being a pain in the butt.
If I could verbalize the amount of internal screaming, the world would go deaf.
I'm just going to say, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. I think that should have her. I think yours should be loud enough now, Mike Nightkind. Oh.
My camera looks so much better. I bought a new shampooer.
Ah.
And what a freaking nightmare.
You got it working.
You got it working. I sat here and got frustrated.
Yeah, that kind of happens.
And my week could be punctuated by, I know people can't plan death, but they should sure be able to plan a funeral.
You'd like to think so.
I know, I invite only disappointment.
Or hilarity. You know that joke about he'd show up late to his own funeral? I have an uncle who actually did. There was a massive traffic accident and caused an hour delay on the road they were taking him down.
Damn.
Olaf, how's my screen? Am I in the way of...
No, you're fine.
Okay, because weren't you complaining to like Caden or was Rasclin to quit moving because his screen was always behind you?
Yeah, he kind of flip flops. He leans one way and then the other, and yeah. I mean it's all about getting comfortable, finding a comfortable place, which is easier said than done.
In my case, I usually started putting Rask on the bottom.
Yeah, in my case, it's just best to zoom out because I'm just going to be all over the place. I'm like my dog that way. Isn't that right, girl? Also, I'll probably move my camera to focus on her because she is infinitely more photogenic than I will ever be.
Well, that's just rude.
I mean, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Dogs are
Think-
always more photogenic than humans. It's just how that works.
I don't know.
So
I've
I'm
seen
loving the
some pretty
pastel.
dogs.
The fact that my name is misspelled is irritating the fuck out of me.
Your name is misspelled? Oh, I spelled it with an... What? Wait. Oh, yeah, I see what I did. I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
That
Oh,
took me-
okay, yeah.
Something doesn't look. Oh, it's Silver Town. Where's it? No, yeah, it's Town. I was like, where's it Talgane? See, I'm dyslexic too. That's why it took me so long to figure out that the voice channel is spelled with a capital I.
Yeah. Spelling and I have never gotten along.
Oh, see, I always I double guess myself because spelling and I got along, but reading and I have gotten along better, but I speed read, but I'm dyslexic and ADHD. So even when I read it wrong, I read it right, but then I think I read it wrong anyways.
That's just... Okay.
Like, I'll see something misspelled, but my brain corrects it, so I read it right. But then I go back because I'm like, wait, was that misspelled? Did I read it wrong?
And hello,
Well,
Christina
hearing-
and Gas Giant.
What I'm hearing, Caden, is you should never be an editor.
I am an editor. That's the problem. I write and I edit my own shit.
Can you stop it?
But thankfully, I found a trick on the internet, which is it actually annoys the shit out of everyone, but it works.
What's
Which
that?
is you're writing, write in Comic Sans.
Okay.
Because it's such an odd font, you're not going to pay attention to it while you're typing. But then when you go back and read it, it's such an annoying font that you will immediately find every mistake you've made.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would work for me.
All I know is I hated those word tests where they're like, okay, you're gonna type blind. And I was like, oh fuck, no, I'm not.
Okay, we're gonna click that one off right now. Oh. I mean, just be careful when you just be careful if you type out flick.
Yeah.
That was one of the more devious little things that Stan Lee did. I think it was with I think it was with one of the Ant-Men when he's like, "Flick me," and it just came out all kinds of wrong, and he's just like, "Nah, leave it in."
So, okay, now you've got me curious. When exactly do we utilize the Naughty Corner?
I don't know.
I was like, we have it. The hell do we do there?
I had to put something.
I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. It's either when we, like, really want to get bad, or that's our timeout room.
Hey, it could be both. Yeah, both works.
Yeah, that is the kind of petty bullshit I do as a dungeon dom. You go to the dungeon, but nothing's happening. You sit there and look at all the pretty things. Do I have to destroy the foundations of my base to replace them with stronger? What the fucking hell? This is why I don't read world chat. The fuck was that question?
Oh, you saw the authors listed on the screen, and it reminded you of something. Okay. And what is that, Gas Giant? I mean, that's pretty good eye. I wasn't sure most people would realize half the stuff that's there.
Oh, I've been looking over it. That's how I figured out my name was misspelled. I was like, oh, this is pretty. Such pastel.
Well, those are the colors they use mostly on the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
No.
But I've got one for Den of the Bullfox and Howling into the Void. I've got a little thing here for Over the Edge and for Gamer's Grotto.
I was about to say the only one who doesn't have like a specialty thing is Nikon.
Specialty what?
Like a separate show outside of this one.
I can do a live cast of the dogs, and that's about it.
Honestly, that could work.
Boring.
You'll have to go back to just DJing with
Nope.
me then.
Oh, it wouldn't be boring. Trust me, you could make like a 24-hour live stream on Twitch and people will pay out the ass to watch that.
Watch dogs.
Yes.
Yep.
People watch goldfish play Pokemon on Twitch.
Okay.
Mount cameras to the dogs with a separate feed in each corner of the screen as they stare at each other.
Yes, I can afford that. Absolutely.
I'm just saying, it would take off.
I'd like to remind you that the puppy bowl is a thing.
Yes, I do know that.
And see, there's the trick. You start with just like an innocuous live stream of 2 or 3 dogs as they're playing or making mischief. And then when people start giving you bits and paying the commissions, then you get a camera and you strap it to a dog. And then when that one starts making money, you get another camera, strap it to another dog, and so on and so forth.
And just as proof of concept, remember that Olive is always just one look away from taking my show from me.
Okay, I think I've got everybody adjusted. Basically, what I did was I just took everybody else down to Nikon's level and then boost the output a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's no problem.
Oh, I do like this.
You're fine. It's a very good chance it's Discord in general, their servers doing it to us since you're out on the West Coast.
Ish.
You were out in past the mountain time zone.
Yes. Ish.
Actually, give me just a moment here. I want to try something. All right, I'm going to go away there. And I want to say... come in here and...
Good. Good.
All right, just make sure that's there. Okay, good. It is. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my camera so that I am joining everybody else. And that just... yes, and that just set everybody off by 1. So, all right, so...
Yeah, that's why I don't mess with the cams as much.
All right.
But
All right,
at some point, we should probably get into our subject matter.
Drew.
I'm already playing my subject matter.
What's your subject matter?
Oh, if we're talking about the points that annoy us because the plot holes are glaring, that'd be once human.
Huh.
Well,
I hate it when...
it's not necessarily just plot holes, but plot holes are a pretty big one, yeah.
Yeah, well, I hate when they open up a game with, hey, you have amnesia, and there's this giant mysterious object, but oh, it's a free-to-play massively multiplayer online game, So we're not actually going to answer, hey, who are you and why did you have a giant piece of Eldritch metal sticking out of your chest? And I fucking hate that, especially since you use the thing as a utility knife throughout the rest of the game.
Huh.
So let's say add that.
And I was going to bring up a similar video game. Who here remembers Strider for the 8-bit Nintendo? It came out the same month as Mega Man 2, both Capcom releases in 1989.
That was a year before I was conceived.
Yeah, don't look at me.
Back in my day, we remembered Capcom as the people who made cowboy-based video games, and we didn't like it. But, so, Capcom had also put out Gunsmoke and some similar games at the time. But Strider was a departure from this, being, also so was Mega Man, effectively. But Strider was basically, not exactly an open world adventure, but the closest you could get on the 8-bit NES outside of the Zelda series at the time. Or Castlevania 2. And the game is honestly one of the best ever come out for the 8-bit Nintendo, right up until you get to the ending. And let me just say, the plot of the ending makes perfect sense, and I've got no issue with that. I don't like the graphics of the ending, and I don't like the music of the ending. Those two things are literally the only reason that Strider isn't a perfect game. Even its glitchiness is so easy to screw around with that it's easily forgivable. But that ending. Nightgun, do you have one?
One what?
Also, I think you're muted.
No, she's not.
He's very quiet.
Yeah.
Well, all y'all are talking video games, and I don't.
Well, it doesn't have to be a video game.
I mean, it's mostly just any piece of media that you enjoy, except for that one thing that just annoys the piss out of you.
Yeah. Okay. So here, I'll go ahead and do mine, or one of mine, I guess. So for example, one of mine was or is the what is it? Oh, it's Ricky Gervais's The Invention of Lying. This is one that a lot of people just absolutely love. But the problem is that for me, it's decent, but it paints everybody who tells the truth as being evil. And what I mean by that is, well, for example, when somebody, say somebody's, Ricky Gervais's character goes for a blind date. He shows up and the woman just looks at him and says, "Oh, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this date's going to work out, but I'll still go on the date with you because I'm hungry. I'm going to go upstairs and finish getting ready, and I'm probably going to masturbate because of how disappointed that I think this date's going to go." And it's like, there's no, it's not so much, it's one of those things where there's a point where it's like, okay, there's
telling the truth and there's being an asshole.
Well, there's telling the truth, and there is there's telling the truth, and there's having an inner monologue. You can have an inner monologue without being a dick.
This is that episode of Sandman, but put to another level.
Kind of, I guess. I'm not sure.
There's an episode where everyone should be lying to each other just to be nice, but no one is, and it's leading to some truly horrific moments.
But yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so, telling the truth is great, but it doesn't automatically make you an asshole. It's like you can tell somebody, hey, I'm going to turn around and leave now, and that's the absolute truth. You don't have to tell them, hey, I'm going to turn around and leave now because I hate talking to you and I think your stupid fat face is ugly. But they always go that extra mile. They always go really far into it. And it's like there's no reason for that. And it's just, yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, that is just, it's so incomprehensibly mean and just stupid. And it's like, other than that, it would be a great movie if it weren't for that. But it's like, there's no, there's just one little thing about it that it's like, that is built into the game or the show or the movie or whatnot. That's just, yeah, it's like, okay, that's cool, but no, you're just, yeah, you're just being a dick. It's like I said, it's not necessarily that it's not necessarily like a plot hole because it's kind of built into it, but it's like, it's just a misunderstanding. It's like a completely missed opportunity, I guess.
I've got another one when we get back around to me.
Okay.
I think we've just gotten back around to you.
Well, Nikon hasn't gone yet.
What I'm thinking right now is when they add too many characters, they overflow the story because there is no story, there really is no plot, but let's add somebody to take the fact away that there is no plot. They just continue with this story that doesn't go anywhere, and then by the end of the movie, you're looking at your watch going, well, glad I spent $10 on that. And I have seen that before. And yes, it drives me crazy.
What movie is the most guilty?
Oh, there was one recently that I said that exact same thing. Was like, there's so many characters, but there's no goddamn plot.
Yeah, right now I can't. One doesn't come to mind right off.
What? I do have
Oh.
an example. The second
okay.
season of Arcane.
The Netflix series?
Mm-hmm.
Say that again, Caden.
The second series of Arcane.
Oh, okay.
So season 1 was fine because we were just introducing one or two important characters and focusing on their plot line. And then season 2, they're like, oh shit, it was more popular than we thought. We want to introduce everyone. But then they forgot, hey, when we're introducing everyone, we also have to make sure everyone's story gets equal time. And they didn't really do that. So, like, we're left with a slew of characters and at least 5 different storylines that got started and then went nowhere. 6 from the previous season that never got answered. And only 2 that got wrapped up, and they didn't even get wrapped up in a satisfying way. So I'm left sitting here going, do I want a season 3?
I mean, Netflix animated shows usually have handled their characters and their plot pretty well. Inside Job, Castlevania, She-Ra, but I'll apparently have to watch Arcane just to see how bad this got.
Okay, what about movies that have the same theme, the same actors, except Oded Fair, he went somewhere else, but Umbrella Corporation, how many times can you tell that story? It's the same fucking story. Over and over.
By the game series, we're up to what, 24 now?
I was gonna say, I thought you were talking about Tim Burton films for a moment.
Close.
Every time someone says Tim Burton's directing, I was like, is Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham starring?
Right.
We know Danny's going to be doing the score.
Right.
All right. So, I've got one for you all.
Okay.
This one's an anime series. I'm sure it's a manga also, but I first got introduced to it in its anime form. and that is otaku elf. The concept is pretty simple. In Japan, for whatever reason, they actually summon gods or goddesses to shrines. And in this version of Japan, the gods in this case tend to be fantasy elves with immortal lifespans. And everyone just takes this as, yeah, this is normal. Japan just summons Western fantasy elves to be their shrine maidens all the time. Whatever, Tokyo just adapts around it. Fine. The world doesn't see it as weird. And it's a funny premise because our main characters are a shrine maiden and her elven goddess. And the elven goddess has decided, yeah, I hate life as a goddess, an object of worship and luck for people to come and get fortunes from. I'm painting my Gundams this week.
Oh.
I'm doing my D&D. I'm doing some cosplay. And it's just like, oh my gods, I can relate to this particular elf frighteningly well. But the thing that kills the series for me ever so slightly is its opening and ending themes are too cutesy and childish. Which is a sad thing because when I first caught the series, I caught it bootlegged, and someone had changed the opening and closing themes to fool the YouTube algorithm. Just the sound, not the visuals. And honestly, the music they chose worked so well that it not only fooled YouTube, but it made me like the series so much more. And then I went to go sit down and watch it legitimately, and I'm not gonna lie, the opening theme damn near killed it for me.
Yeah, I just reading the comments here, and I gotta agree with Gasshine on one of them. That one always annoys the shit out of me as well.
Which was
when they do the enhance. When they just magic, when they can't, they have like a digital picture and they're like, okay, blow it up. I can't see anything. Enhance it. It's like, you can't enhance it. If somebody's face literally takes up it fits in one pixel, all you get is one single color. That's all you get per pixel. You can't enhance that.
I was about to say, oh my god, where do they get all these extra pixels and the fucking bandwidth from?
So yeah, it's like an IKEA in reverse. Red Dwarf made fun of that in one scene of their Back to Earth series, where they're mostly making fun of Blade Runner throughout these 5 episodes, or at least making references to it. But there's a point where they just do the enhance thing back and forth, and then finally realize, wait a minute, we didn't have to do that. The actual photo was right over there the whole time.
Yeah, the actual car is still sitting there. It's like, oh. Yeah, because it was like they like zoomed in on like a rain droplet or a droplet of water and reversed the image and then enhanced it, and it's like, okay, that's taking it to the point of just absurdity. But it's like, yeah, but when procedural cop shows do it, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is just something they can do. It's like, no, they can't.
That kind of reminds me of that episode of CSI where they went into Second Life.
But they what?
They what?
They went into Second Life.
Oh god.
And the thing that annoyed the shit about it annoyed me, not because they accurately showed Second Life, which they didn't, but because somehow it aired back in 2010, somewhere around there. And the most unrealistic thing about it was they went into Second Life with a completely fully formed avatar. All the permissions could go into any fucking realm they wanted, including Zindra, back before Teen Grid was merged, and could just walk around with voice chat on and be like, hey, what's going on? Is this a beta? Did you steal someone's account?
Yeah, it's like, maybe if they had, like, if they were, they would have had to have had the last name of Linden. See, one of mine is like with historical stuff, or where they're like, historical investigations and stuff, where they make wild assumptions for no damn reason. Like, I remember one where they had this journal from, I think it was the Napoleonic War, where it was like, they said that a cannon was fired overhead and the cannonball flew overhead, and one of their people, one of their soldiers dropped dead, bleeding from the ears and the nose. And they're like, well, okay, so we're going to try and find out how this could happen. Well, first things first, obviously it had to hit him. It's like, whoa, wait. You just made a wild assumption for no damn reason. And it's like, you think about a cannonball flying overhead, it's like, that's going to change the pressure in the immediate area by a lot. If the guy had a brain aneurysm, that would have popped it, and he would be bleeding from the ears. It's like, but they didn't, they just automatically assumed, well, the guy, whoever wrote the journal had to have missed the cannonball hitting him. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, that's no, just why would you make that wild assumption that, oh, well, this, and same thing with like whenever they're talking about the Egyptian pyramids, they're like, well, how did they build it? Well, they had to have had some kind of outside help, because heaven forbid these people in North Africa, so many centuries ago, couldn't be smart enough to figure out how to move massive blocks or have the artistry to chisel them by hand.
If you've ever caught Milo Rossi's channel, Mini Minuteman on YouTube, he fires off into all these pseudo-intellectuals who claim aliens did it, and says exactly what you did of, oh, heaven forbid people of non-Western cultures be able to come up with this.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't do an assumption, then they have nothing. And so I guess everybody wants their 15 minutes, so let's make this wild assumption and just ride that horse until it drops.
Pretty much. It's like,
the assumptions get so out there, though, like, aliens helped build every pyramid, and all the pyramids ever made by any culture are part of the grand network of satellites to, oh god, it's so much bullshit.
Well, they're putting seed. They have to put a seed so it grows, and so you follow the show. And okay, well, there goes the assumptions again.
Oh.
So,
well, like I said, with the one at the Napoleonic War, it's like they never stopped to think, well, what would the cannonball flying over your head do to the immediate area? It would increase the pressure. Okay, is there a medical condition where a sudden shift in the air pressure could kill somebody without ever touching them? Like, that's why if you're diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, you're not supposed to fly, because that could very easily pop it, and you bleed out in a matter of seconds.
See, we only have doctors with current knowledge that can say that, and then it's going back to what if.
Yeah, but my point is this was a modern show. They were trying to figure out in the modern world how this happened back in the Napoleonic War, and like I said, their first step was, well, the observer didn't see the cannonball hit this soldier. It's like, so you just so why even take that story, that mystery, and look into it if you're just gonna throw half of what the person wrote out the window?
Nobody does the research far enough, and again, it's an assumption. So I don't know. Can they research that more?
I mean, at least talk to actual medical doctors and say, hey, so is there any way that this could possibly happen? Is there any way this could do it? But no, they're just like, okay, so first things first, it had to have hit him. There's no other way that it could have killed him. No other way whatsoever. It's like, but you didn't do anything to earn that assumption, other than you just wanted to move past the big mystery and ignore it.
Something here. It's coming after me. Dennis, if you can hear me, just take the supplies and get out of here.
Okay.
Where's that coming from?
I'm pretty sure that's coming from Caden.
Oh, probably. It's a quest line of, hey, things are chasing you. Don't get too close to them, but we're going to put one right in your path.
Of course.
So Olaf, that what you were saying, I think it's like artistic freedom. Well, this looks good, so we're going to do this. And
yeah.
See, that's another thing that pisses me off because, you know, weaponry, you're not going to have that weapon back then. So why are you guys doing this? And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of nerds that are like costuming, weapon, I don't know, all the way down to language. Well, they didn't say that back then. So I think that would be something that pisses me off. You can have artistic freedom, but where does that end?
Yeah. Like, oh God, what was it? Helsing with Hugh Jackman and the rapid fire automatic crossbow. That one
built by monks of the church, my friend. Of course he'd have that.
That one, for me, that was the one that I'm like, nope. You know, it was all right up to that point, and it's just like, no. Fuck you.
All
I
right.
have a crossbow, and there is no way in hell that you can have an automatic artistic freedom. Okay, bullshit. Let's stop right there. Just stop it.
Yeah, like, it for me, like, any kind of weaponry or something like that needs to make sense. It's like, makes sense for the time period, at least.
It does make sense when you remember that he was literally Gabriel.
Look, angels don't have automatic weapons.
Angels can time travel. Maybe they do have automatic weapons.
But he wasn't the one that made it. So him being Gabriel doesn't matter.
It didn't really matter in the first place because they didn't do anything with it.
All right, if we're going to talk historical issues throwing you off, Titanic, the first mate.
Can we just leave Titanic alone?
No.
No, I mean in general. Like, can we stop trying to put people on it?
Yes, except for in plot lines. So, the family of the real-life first mate of the Titanic, why just hated the film because it portrayed their family member in an extremely negative light, and there was no historic data to back that up. They basically chose someone from the crew in real life and said, oh, right, this guy's our bad guy. And when that person has real-life family, that is going to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
It's like, or Longshanks in Braveheart. Don't get me wrong, we all loved Braveheart when it came out because Mel Gibson hadn't been a complete piece of shit yet, but...
Well, he hadn't been exposed as a complete piece of shit yet.
Point.
Speaking of exposed in Braveheart, if you watch the whole entire band of warriors in their kilts come running up, you can see one guy holding down his kilt. I'm like, oh, honey, just let it fly.
But there were two issues, like, let's take what they did with Longshanks. Like, one, they said, oh, he was a pagan this whole time. Now, speaking as someone who is of a definitely not Christian religion, is Mel Gibson and everyone else in this film trying to imply he's like Druidic or something, which is about the only pagan religion there on the Emerald Isle at the time?
Oh, and I should say hello, gamers. We're looking forward to you being back with us as well.
All right. And as funny as that this is, because they're making their villain, the villain is a pagan, and they're also basically taking Longshanks in real life. Did he pull some underhanded shit? Yeah, but not to the level that was done in this film.
Okay, we can throw Christianity in there, or religion in there, where all the Christians, everybody has to be a Christian, and they were, born into Christianity, and they were, dunked in water or whatever, and this is how Christianity became. No.
Have absolutely kept it at. We can just throw in Christianity. We can throw Christians under.
You guys killed off a bunch of fucking people to fall under your religion. You made them your religion. And so, Rasclin, I guess what you were saying is that that's all wrong. They can't just like throw a pagan in there and like, ta-da, it's, here's your character. He's pagan.
I was just like, when the movie came out, I loved it. Even though I was already not Christian at the time, but, years later I look back, and I want to say it was a Cracked magazine article that had me questioning the whole thing. Because what else did we have to read while we were at Gumby's Pizza back around 2008? And then I was just like, alright, I looked into it, and it's like, yeah, I guess they had to take some liberties to make the story actually interesting.
I hate Braveheart. It's all mushy. Stupid.
Side note. I want a movie about Julian the Apostate when he was an emperor of Rome. He's the one you don't really hear much about.
Well, then why make it
like
if
it
nobody
one
knows
movie
about
with the crucifixion of Peter.
it? Didn't they do a movie about Judas?
They've never done an accurate movie about Judas.
But okay.
They tried making him Dracula at one point.
Which, I mean, that one actually kind of worked. At least for me it did. It's like, yeah, okay, that...
Does anybody else get weirded out by Jesus Christ Superstar?
Never seen it.
I mean, the remakes suck too, but like in the original Andrew Lloyd Webber, it always struck me as a bit on the nose that he did the Disciples and Judas was the only one in the Disciples who was black.
Did they make Jesus white?
Incredibly.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, yeah.
So, Jesus Christ Superstar tells, well, basically as, yes, Jesus is a pop star. He's the new big thing in Rome. And yeah, they do the Disciples, and it's, Jesus, 11 white guys, 1 black guy. And like, can you find Judas?
Yeah.
I was like, gee, is it the only guy in the Disciples with rhythm? Because Jesus Christ Superstar is Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's a musical. I hate that. I hate more that because it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, it gets stuck in your head because he writes really catchy lyrics.
Yeah, thanks for that. Now I have an earworm.
Movie about Judas Priest.
That would be fun, but who do we get to play a young Rob Halford?
It's too late. I've got Phantom of the Opera stuck in my head now.
I want to hear Rob Halford as the Phantom of the Opera now. God damn it.
I actually did go to see Phantom of the Opera at the Fox Theater in St. Louis once.
Okay, this puzzle is getting very annoying.
Okay.
Weeping are less annoying than this.
Weeping Angels? What?
So the part in the game that I'm at right now is as you rush past an enemy, it's frozen and you can't kill it. But the moment you rush past it, it becomes active and chases you.
Oh.
And if it catches you, you immediately fail the mission. And then once you get past the first one and get to your objective, you turn around. Now there's 2, but they put them on the extreme ends of a hallway, and there's a door that leads between them. So you can get through the door but that puts you directly in the path of the second one, who just immediately turns around and fails your mission.
See, that's frustrating.
And there does. Why am I suddenly able to run? When did I shed 30 pounds of my inventory weight?
It's the adrenaline, man.
Apparently. Maybe now I'll be able to actually outrun this damn thing and open a door. Oh, wow. I did.
So, okay, the other big one that I thought of with this topic that really just this is the one that I know I've mentioned it before that just really kind of sparked the topic, and that is everybody's bringing up idiocracy. And, you know, oh, we're living in, you know, it was supposed to just be a fun film. It wasn't supposed to be real life, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but the whole concept of idiocracy centers around eugenics. They literally spell it out in like in the opening of the movie that it's like, well, people with low IQ just fuck and don't use condoms, so they have lots and lots of kids. And people with high IQs, you know, focus on their jobs, focus on their careers, all this stuff. And then, you know, they, you know, it comes about that, well, they never wind up finding the time to have kids. So the world slowly gets dumber and dumber and dumber. It's like, that's not how any of that works. And dear gods, people are looking at this like, oh, this is really coming true. And it's like, you guys do realize eugenics is not a thing, right?
It's like at most they could say, hey, the societal trend almost looks familiar, and that's about all you could get out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, no, just you can't, a person's intelligence isn't based on, you know, their parents' intelligence. Get over that shit.
You're reminding me of that tweet that El Fucko sent where he was like, oh, the liberals watched Demolition Man and made it true. And I was like, did you not watch the fucking movie?
Yeah.
The parents, obviously the parents are going to raise the kid with all that they know. And, you know, for instance, if they're teaching this new math in school, well, the parents don't understand new math, so the kid really isn't going to understand new math until they're in the classroom. And then the teacher points it out and they do all the work. And the kids are only taught to pass a test. They're not taught how to pass the test.
Yeah.
Well, the parents are confused. They don't know what to do. So the kid's going to be confused and he doesn't know what to do, and so on down the line. Okay. The parents are like, well, this is how you cook top ramen. Instead of teaching them how to cook beef bourguignon. Bourguignon? Beef bourguignon?
I never pronounced it right.
The beef shit.
Deep fried beef, we'll call it that.
It's technically Bergen, but I don't bother pronouncing it that way ever.
Yeah.
Because it's only once a blue moon that my throat and mouth will actually do that.
Right. So I can see where the dumbing down of society keeps going and going.
I mean, it's, yeah, I can see the dumbing down but it's more has to do with our educational system, which unfortunately nobody seems to actually want to do anything about.
They love the poorly educated.
Well, poorly educated cannot lead an uprising against the elite.
I mean, you know, George Carlin had a point. It's like they want you just smart enough to work the machine, but not as smart enough to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want you to feed the machine, not replace the machine.
Well, I think that's why AI now is, I think that's a full circle, because even though AI was invented by a man, AI is now taking over the jobs of men and women, people of all. So now we're just back to waiting for AI to do something for us. We don't have to worry about anything. So that's my point of view on that. You know, when I work my AI, okay, yeah, I put in words, but there's this machine taking, you know, other people's art and creating something that I said. Okay, well, all I have to do is think of words, and then the computer does it for me. They have, what's that, Chat GPT? I've never worked it. So how do you put that? You just give it an idea and it writes something for you?
From what I can gather, yeah, that's essentially how it works. It's like most of the AI. It's, you give it a prompt of something, giving it any specifics that you want, you know, any specifics, and it churns something out for you.
So we no longer have to write. We no longer have to come up with we can come up with an idea, but then AI takes over with that. AI, they're driving our cars. We no longer have to drive. The dumbing down of kids, people. The best security system ever is the stick shift. Nobody knows how to drive a stick shift.
That's true.
I can drive it enough to steal it.
And interestingly enough, the people that are like, you know, specifically the one person that's like really pushing AI and it's like, oh yeah, AI is great, AI this, AI that, AI this, AI that, you know, we don't need to do anything, and oh hey, maybe we should cut the funding for cut the Department of Education entirely. This is the same person who is very much a fan of the H-1B visa that brings in people with special education and gives them a visa to do a specific job. It's like, so you don't want Americans to be taught how to do this job. You just want to hire somebody from somewhere else. That's the thing that annoys the shit out of me. It's like, you know, I mean, it's like, why don't you invest in education here so that we can teach our kids how to do these jobs? You know, how to work with IT, how to program AI, how to do all of this stuff. It's like, they're like, no. Why should we spend the money when somebody else can spend the money and then we just take their people?
Friend that is going to Italy to teach the kids to use ASL. And okay, yeah, why can't you bring in somebody from Italy to teach the ASL? Why can't you keep it all together? So I hear what you're saying is that they're bringing in other people to teach other things. Why can't you keep it all cohesive? Is that the right analogy?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of the duality of it. It's like, on one hand, they don't want to fund education. They don't want to, you know, to pay teachers a fair wage, a living wage, and make sure they have the tools that are needed. But then they complain that, hey, sorry, us Americans aren't smart enough to do these high-tech jobs, so we have to bring in people from other countries. It's like, and these are the same type of people that crow on and on and on about, oh, well, we should be hiring Americans first. It's like, but you're making sure that Americans aren't fit for the job. So
the dumbing down of America.
Yeah. And that's the really horrible part. It's like, it's not worldwide. It's just the US. It's like, yeah, No. School teachers can buy their own supplies. It's like, really? Do you go into a job and into an IT job and say, hey, you have to supply all your own USB sticks, you have to supply your own computer, you have to supply your own network, you have to supply everything yourself? It's like, no. Why are you doing it why are you doing that for teachers?
There was a teacher that needed a second job. Her second job was an OnlyFans page. But I shit you negative. And she was making more money on OnlyFans than she was at teaching. But the downside of that is one of her students found her page and ratted her out. And of course she lost her job, so.
Oh yeah, because, hey, that's...
At that point, you lose a good teacher who is now going to just go to the job that appreciates her.
And making way much more money.
Yeah,
Couldn't blame her in the slightest.
Oh, I'm sure there's lots of stupid things that you could tell me, Gas, especially working in education. Like, I remember one of my aunts used to work in education. She worked in a small town as a school teacher. And my uncle, her husband, worked as a farmer. So basically they did it to make sure that, hey, they always had an income. When he was really busy working on the farm, she was taking care of the house. When he was off work at the farm, she was working in the schools. He was taking care of the house. It was, it's like, yeah, that's... I shudder to think what she would think about how the education system is today.
What's education?
It's when you put the wrong emphasis on the syllable.
Yes.
Big words confuse.
I can't say anything. I literally say drain my pasta in a colander because I first read it. So.
You know what? The fact that you said you read it, you put that on Reddit, they'd probably just go along with it.
Yeah. Just like anybody on
They'd ask
social
added
platform. That's okay. I can't say it. It's iron. That thing that you take all the wrinkles out of your clothes with. It's an iron.
I get a weird look from my guild mates in Final Fantasy XIV because they say, "All right, everyone, get out your chocobo," as opposed to, "You mean your chocobo?" I'm like, "Are we really arguing pronunciation of this made-up word?" Yes, we are.
Yeah, I get into that argument all the time. The easiest way I won it was, they're like, "Oh, it's Chocobo," and I was like, first of all, how the fuck many C's did you just add to that word? Second of all,
make it a Welsh word. Go on.
I was like, second of all, they constantly name the goddamn things Choco, which, unless you are pronouncing things extremely oddly, you do not pronounce chocolate with a hard C.
Chocolate?
Chocottle, maybe?
I'm just gonna try and stay quiet.
It's the one that pronounced it Kokobo, and I was like, what? Run that by me one more time, but slower. I mean, at least they kind of, I give them a pass if it's in the, like, they haven't played the newer games. And there's like, if you read it, it's like, okay, I'll give you a pass if we're trying to figure out things, but we've only read the word, we've never actually heard it pronounced. But in the newer games, okay, there are some words that I disagree with heavily, like when they say Ramu.
The downside of learning words in the katakana first. Depending on how it got transliterated.
Well, like, it's pronounced how it's spelled, and I was like, it's spelled Rama. And then if you speak most languages on that subcontinent, it would be Rama, I believe. But I don't know where you're getting Ramu from.
Okay, so if you were doing that in katakana, assuming they had looked at how it was written down and in English, or at least in some Western Roman alphabet, and they didn't know that you would use the H to draw out the vowel, they're not going to put down the double vowel that normally is used in katakana. So you wind up with a short U.
Yeah, that's how I always figured, was just somebody dropped the H.
Pretty much.
You know, you guys are talking about, like, you know, about how the players pronounce things.
Oh, no. They made it official canon that's how it's pronounced, and I was like, this annoys me.
What annoys me is the Batman Arkham series.
Okay, go on.
Because they always insist on calling him Ra's al Ghul.
As opposed to Rash?
As opposed to Ra's al Ghul.
Oh.
That one's been a debate for years, and that's just because of the phonetics.
It's not a debate, because somebody who speaks Arabic is like, no. The pronunciation, Ra's al Ghul, is, I think it's the chicken of the demon, or the feather of the demon.
Yeah.
Raz is the head.
Okay.
I said Raz, but then the people who are saying Raish always try to say, when they put the apostrophe there, I'm like, do you speak the fucking language?
Yeah, this is somebody who, like, yeah, he is fluent. He's fluent in Arabic, teaches it, and he's like, no. Raish is like, yeah, Raish is basically calling him either I don't remember if it was the chicken or the feather, but it's like, it's one of those. It's like chicken of the demon. It's like, or feather of the demon. It's like, that makes no goddamn sense. Whereas Raz, head of the demon, that makes sense.
No, too late. I'm already picturing a medieval painting wherein a demon is going around handing people feathers.
Well, you don't even need to do that, because they already have the feather of the demon.
See, I was just thinking of I was just thinking of the Curse of Monkey Island, El Pollo Diablo.
Well, I mean, they could literally say they have a feather of the demon already, because Damien was the son of the demon, and he's currently Robin.
True, but why are they calling the leader of the Guild of the Guild of Assassins the feather of, you know, that's not Damien.
Technically, when Talia's on vacation and Ra's is still technically dead, it does fall to Damien.
Yes, but Damien isn't called Ra's al Ghul. That's the name that they associate with this one man who's never been Robin. He is the head of the League of Assassins.
Yeah, I forget what Damien's birth name is.
Steve.
I'm just going to chalk it up to being a feather in Ross's hat. I had to.
One of us was going to.
It's true.
Hey, why does eating raw meat and everything in this game give me, like, horrible gastric distress, and yet eating raw eggs doesn't do shit?
Well, actually, there is actually a pretty decent explanation for that.
I would go with, in real life, the innards of an egg are sterile, except everything in this world has been polluted by cosmic radiation that gives you freaky-ass psychic powers and turns you into eldritch abominations.
Well, raw meat takes a whole lot more effort to digest.
Okay, but you're telling me that I can still down a polluted egg and not get freaky ass monster powers?
Well, you might get freaky ass monster powers, but you're not going to necessarily get stomach distressed intestinal tract.
Unless that's your power.
You asked, why does eating meat give you digestional distress? Not why do you get freaky deaky powers from raw meat but not raw eggs? I'm just answering your question.
Shit, I have no sanity items.
You can just ask
Raise
the
of hand. Raise of hands, everybody who's surprised. That's what I thought.
Normally, I keep a lot of sanity items on me.
Say, ask
I
the,
want to try to challenge the boss with liver of my sanity gone.
What were you saying, Nightkind?
well, I was going to say, just ask the Donner Party if there's any GI issues. Yes, that's wrong. I'm sorry. Or if they gained any superpowers.
Oh, they gained a great superpower. It's called brain holes. Sometimes
least-
by worms, but we don't get into that bit.
I was gonna say it. Who wrote this? Who made this game? And how closely are they attached to RF Kennedy Jr.?
Actually, I
Arm
don't.
them with a super soaker full of raw milk.
So the hilarious part is, I know this game wasn't written by English-speaking people because of the translation issues. And because of all the skins, I'm willing to bet that it was a Chinese company.
But yeah, like S Giant pointed out, yeah, outside of the U.S., eating raw eggs is probably just fine. I mean, especially if you go into Asia, because they actually look at the eggs and inspect them for any impurities that would cause problems if eaten raw.
Okay, let me give greater context. I stole these out of a raven's nest like 3 days ago.
I mean, even within the United States, you're actually the likelihood of getting sick from raw eggs is very, very minimal.
Well, that's because we pasteurize our eggs.
Okay, what about the wet markets in China, Japan, and all those countries over there? And they will pull the animal out of the cage and and kill it right there in front of you so you can have your raw meat. And you know, there's a lot of people that do get sick from the wet markets. And how many people get sick, but they don't report it because it's the norm over there.
That's fair.
All right, you know what? Until I get my sanity items back, I'm just gonna go to bed and sleep with my kitty.
You mean in game, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Still, phrasing?
The only thing I'm going to say to that is that the phrasing is not as bad as you might think. It's worse because the cat that I am going to bed with alongside is about twice the size of your player character.
Oh, so you're sleeping with a murder kitty?
No, it likes to keep you company. It's just, yeah, if it rolls over, you ain't getting out from under.
So you're the little spoon.
Yeah. And everyone's like, the cat is so cute and adorable. I was like, yeah, the cat's cute and adorable. The status message that pops up after you wake up isn't.
What is the status message?
Comfy, soft, and smooth like silk. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
So the kitty is soft and smooth like silk?
Apparently.
There's a Lords of Acid song in here.
but you have to pick
Yes, in fact, it's called Pussy. That is, in fact, the lyrics, is that hers is smooth.
But not, but yeah, it's smooth, but not furry.
Well, okay, yeah. Conditioner, lots of conditioner.
I have the EP. I play it on my show.
She actually does take flicks, so we can assume that there's no fur.
Linoleum?
With Lords of Acid, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have any mushrooms? That's weird.
Now I'm not convinced he's talking about the game.
See, this is why we need gamers, because, you know,
Well,
if gamers isn't here, we all just pile on Caden.
Yeah, but I can take it. I give out just as weird as you guys give.
I can make you all pile on me, but I'm going to have to run D&D to do it.
We could all pile on you, but that raises several questions about sexuality and relationships that we don't have time to answer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I've known Ras way too long. Just that's gonna be an automatic no for me.
So I got the game because of like, hey, maybe we can all run it together and it would be fun. But I don't think that's gonna be an option. I don't know whether to describe it as Resident Evil with a build mechanic or Valheim puns.
Thank you for reminding me of the name of the movie. Resident Evil Part 27.
The Resident Evil movies, at least they're better than the Silent Hill ones.
I actually kind of preferred the Silent Hill ones because they at least took lore from the game that could be played with and then respected what they needed to.
They said that the game was just like too terrifying to play. And I played it and I'm thinking, what's terrifying about it? Let's get on with it. And
Which
the
one?
second
Silent Hill?
Silent Hill, yeah.
It is interesting. I'm not sure I could call it terrifying. You're right.
Yeah.
I just don't
Okay.
like scares, so I don't tend to play that genre, but just reading the premise and watching the rest of Silent Hills, I'm like, two of these games were just like 3-hour-long abortion storylines, and the others were just, hey, I went insane one day and decided to kill people.
I mean, the latter is understandable.
I mean, I played Silent Hills 2, 3, 4. I actually did borrow and play 1 for a bit. Did not get the good ending.
Hey, so can we bring our fellow internet reviewers into this?
Fellow internet reviewers?
Well, like content creators and such, because it does annoy me when people are doing videos or live streams or something, and they start talking about a subject like they're an absolute authority, and then it becomes painfully obvious they didn't do any research.
Oh, yeah.
I can think of quite a few people on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Very
if we're talking about, I mean, as far as the topic for tonight, yeah, I mean, internet creators are totally, yeah, they're totally fair game. Like, I'll admit, there's one that annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh? Are we going to name names or just vaguely insinuate?
I'll name names. I'm not. I don't care. He used to be on New Rock Stars. Goes by the name of Mastertainment or MT. And he was so determined that there had to be like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe was color coded. So, like, anytime you saw this color, it had to be associated with this, or anytime you saw this color, it had to be associated with that, and stuff like that. And it's like, it was just, it got to the point where that was about all he talked about. And, like, I think even New Rockstars was like, dude, you kind of need to tone it down a bit.
To a point, I could see what he was talking about, but the entire thing?
I was gonna say, it's like you cannot distill all the MCU down to the premise of hero.
Yeah. I think I think what finally got him off New Rockstars was actually something that I addressed on Twitter. This was like months and months ago now. Might have been a year ago now. But there was this picture of this one video of this gal who was putting stuff in her car, and her nephew was in a stroller, and the stroller blew away in the wind. Started heading towards the road, and somebody else came, she was running after it, freaking the fuck out, understandably. Stumbled and fell and just kept falling and falling and falling. And it's like, yeah, she's not thinking straight. She is freaking the fuck out. And he's like, oh no, that was total. She tried to murder that child. It's like, dude, fucking take a step back and understand her side of things. Try and see it from, oh no, you're wrong. You please go somewhere else. Thank you. And it's like, really? That's your response to this? And like within a day, his post was deleted, and within like 3 more days, he was gone from New Rockstars. It's like, yeah, dude is not, he very much not a focused individual, like a sanely focused individual.
Doesn't sound it.
I could focus and sheer fucking batshit.
But yeah, it was like, oh well, like it to the point where like, Steve Rogers had to have like had the power of a concentrated mind, because the Vita rays that were used to make the super soldier a super soldier were yellow. And it's like, but that makes that just makes no goddamn sense.
When did Steve become a fucking Green Lantern?
Yeah, it's like, no, it was one of those really long reaches that's just like, it just, it's not going to play out. The irony is that he was the one that I first heard use the term brothers, sisters, and gender norm resistors. And he used that for like a month in all the videos that he hosted. He used that for like a month and then just like dropped it. And I'm like, really? Why? Because that kind of encompasses a lot of people. It encompasses pretty much anybody. And it's catchy as hell.
I like how we've all been trying to find our own unique ways of saying that, just because we're like, oh, we don't stand out. I gave up. I was like, you know what? Because we've got the, brothers, sisters, gender norm resistors, and we've got cliques, laddies, lassies, and lassos. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start everything with lolly ho, you deviant fucks.
I mean, that does pretty much encompass everybody.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you get offended because I called you a deviant fuck? Well, then just stick with the lolly ho.
Damn it. Now I can't. Now I'm picturing Tataru saying that. Thank you very much.
You know what? If I had the reach to reach out to her voice actor, she'd probably do it, like, enthusiastically.
Her English one or her Japanese one?
Her English one. Let's see if she has a cameo.
Okay. I mostly am used to Tataru in Japanese. Well, I'm used to all of them in Japanese, but
Would it be funnier if any of the 14 voice casts said it, or would it be funnier if we got Neil, who voices Asterion, to say it?
damn it, don't make me choose. Also, the correct answer is Alisail.
Alisei. No, Alisei doesn't have the sass for it.
She has the anger for it. At least her Japanese version does. I don't know about her English version.
See, I'm with Gas Giant here. You know, Gas Giant says, you know, they do what everybody does in California, just call everybody dude. It's gender neutral term. It really is.
We tried that, and then someone went and gendered it.
It didn't fly very well.
I mean,
I know who you want to say lolly ho, you deviant fucks now.
Who?
Gods, what's her name? Summer, she played Penny on Inspector Gadget, the original cartoon.
You know what? You didn't need to traumatize me about a commission for a porno story that I wrote, but thanks. I don't even remember her original voice, though.
Hey, Uncle Gadget.
No.
Yeah.
You gotta have sass with it. That's the thing. It has to be someone sassy.
She's got the sass going for it. If you ever catch her, she
Yeah.
did something with Nostalgia Critic a while back, where she basically revisited the character of Penny and turned her into a psychopath.
I haven't watched Nostalgia Critic in ages, because Doug is just not my cup of tea anymore.
I understand, but this particular sketch is mostly animated. So you mostly won't be seeing Doug.
But yeah, what reminded me of the whole, like, hey, are we going after content creators was when we were talking about the games, it reminded me of an old episode of Decker's Shadow when he was reviewing Stay Alive, and they got into the scene where a boss calls his employee, and he's like, hey, I'm playing Silent Hill, and I'm on this boss, and, like, you know, I've got the hyper blaster and all this shit, and I can't do anything. And they're like, wait a minute. Decker started going off on a tangent. He's like, there's no hyper blasters in Silent Hill. What are you talking about? Why would you dump your ammo? And why would the boss suddenly die? That doesn't happen. I was like, yeah, it does. It's Silent Hill 2. Did you not do any research before you made this joke? And actually, apparently, so many people went after him for it, he actually apologized in the next video. He's like, all right, we were wrong. I'm sorry.
oh, good God.
I
was just glancing at Twitter here, and apparently Kanye West has now stated that he's been diagnosed with autism and is trying to blame all his bad behavior on that.
That's not how autism works. Also, retroactive apologies don't work.
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck you 12 times and just no.
I've got an idea. Kanye West said he was Jesus, and then he said he was God. And Chris Chan said he's Jesus, or she's Jesus, depending on whether or not you respect her pronouns. So, like, we should put them in a room and make them fight and see which one's the real Jesus.
Yeah, and see, the thing is what you don't tell them is the person who says, I'm not going to fight, that's probably Jesus.
Well, yeah, but, you know, they're both going to try that anyways.
Oh, no, I guarantee you, most
throw hands, and Chris probably has pepper spray still.
I would be willing to bet both of them are like, oh, really? Okay, fuck this. I'm fucking this person up. It's like, yeah, you failed hard.
Also, I love the fact that everyone keeps claiming, oh, this is the second coming of Jesus. I'm like, you know, I would be willing to accept that if it weren't for the fact by your own scripture that once Jesus comes back, good, bad, or otherwise, the moment he steps foot on Earth, the planet is supposed to end, and we're all fucked. And that doesn't seem to be happening yet, so I don't think Jesus is back yet.
Well, I don't know, because it doesn't say how quickly the world is going to end, and most of us are pretty well fucked.
Have you seen a giant serpentine whore with 8 heads yet?
The Antichrist?
I don't know. I haven't seen my ex-wife in years.
Are you saying that you knowingly married the whore of Babylon?
And now it's time for Ras to get a little uncomfortable because he knows my ex-wife.
To be fair, if you called her the whore of Babylon, she would think, wait, I can get a business card with that on it? And then I would probably sell her the business card.
Yeah. To be fair, he's right.
To be fair, that would be a badass business card to be able to give out to people. Whore of Babylon, mother of sin, destroyer of earth.
All right, I need to grab another drink, so I'll be right back.
I need to come up with horrible things to put on people's business cards.
Define horrible.
Your name here with the tagline, there's a 37% chance I fucked your mom.
I like
or your dad. I'm not
it's a non-zero chance.
Now, I want to put a number on it because it's more absurd that way.
True. I like the non-zero because it makes them worry more. It's like, well, what's the percentage? It's definitely not 0.
So my photo shoot is back on. I'm making the trek tomorrow.
Is this a PG PG photo shoot?
Goth Industrial.
That does
modeling clothing. And then I'm trying to sell people and models on calendars.
This does still not answer the question of whether or not you will have clothes on, sir.
I will have clothes on.
Okay.
It will be extremely revealing clothes. You remember the last time I wore extremely revealing clothes on this show?
You mean the times you took your shirt off and almost flashed everybody when you stood up for the camera in sweatpants?
Almost isn't good enough.
I guess when you ask if anybody remembers when, and everybody's silent, so they don't remember.
Oh no, we remember. That's why we're silent.
Because I was going to say Pepperidge Farms remembers.
The Pepperidge Farm does remember. The rest of us are having flashbacks.
Here, this is the no flashback medicine.
Except technically I'm not, because the horrible part is I've been around such absurd and disgusting shit my entire life. I just eventually learned how to filter it out in real time. So there are times I just have gaps in my memory and I'm just like, okay, something happened there. I probably don't want to know what it is.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back. We were just talking about Rasclin naked.
Right. I'm gonna no.
I was about to say that would be a good time to run again.
Yeah.
My penis is its own mic.
Wait, what?
I only call it Mike.
I don't think I should respond. Where did I go? Shit. Okay.
That would be a horrible thing to put on YouTube.
What?
Giving my penis its own mic.
Yeah.
That would have to be a very small mic, my friend.
Well, I would settle for a George.
you
Hey, so what's the diminutive of Mike, anyways? Is it Mick?
I don't know. Isn't Mike already the diminutive? I mean,
Well, yeah, but there are people who name their son Mike, like not Michael, just Mike. And I was like, okay, so if we want to make that the diminutive, what is the diminutive?
I mean, I already know someone who went by Mickey and whose real name was Michael legally, but
I feel like
know someone
in
who
this day and age is a very brave move.
some people, Olav and I know someone who uses the shortened version of Jessica and just calls herself Sika.
That one's rare. I haven't heard that one a lot.
I've seen a lot of people doing that, but kind in a different context. Like a lot of people when they when they when they go with a name change of some sort, especially for trans people, wind up using the term Nix. It's like-
NYX?
Yes, as in Phoenix, but
Goddess-
the last F, and it's like, huh?
But I was assuming goddess of the night.
Now, most of them that I know of that, yeah, they use Nix, that they use it as in Phoenix. It's kind of like the laptop company Asus. It's the last half of Pegasus.
If we say Phoenix about 3 more times, we'll summon the Phantom of the Paradise. I love when I make references like that and everybody just goes silent.
I think Nightkind is trying to use a puppy dog as a VTuber.
Yeah. He's trying to get into a fight with his brother, and
See, that's
We don't- Every other piece of media. Do we have any songs that are almost perfect except for that one fucking thing?
well, I mean,
Can we do
a lot of them from the 50s and 60s.
No, not that little thing.
No, I mean the whole, Sweet 16, you're sweet, you're 16 in your mind. They were just, it was not a lot of that aged very poorly.
the whole entire concept album of Operation Mindcrime is just outstanding to me. I mean, that tells a whole complete story. And nobody's ever listened to that.
For me, a song that's mostly good but has one part I don't like. Urge Overkill Sister Havana. The brief 50s-ish vocal section right before the guitar solo.
Well, see, Gas Giant's heard of it. Yeah, there's you got to remember, especially anybody that comes in that knows me and Caden will probably have a very eclectic taste.
Yeah. Especially if they know us together.
True.
Let me put Olive as the focus of the camera because now she ducks behind my legs.
That you and I were the only ones that had the gusto to come out with the most interesting stories from that period.
Here, let's see here. Let's flip this.
Because I love telling people that I once sat through an entire business meeting with a coworker that was just dressed as Gurr. But we were the only ones willing to be that fucked up that meeting.
It's true.
Because what was it? You were dressed as Gurr, and I think I just, like, fucking insulted everybody for no reason that meeting.
So pretty much every normal meeting.
Oh, no. I think that one was like, we just both went all out. We were just so done with people's shit. I didn't have a funny costume to dress up in.
So is there anything coming up in the next month or so that people are that any of you are excited about?
Hopefully spring.
Let's see.
Fuck this snow
Is
shit.
nuclear apocalypse an appropriate answer at this point in time?
Yes.
Let's hope that that's not going to be, that's not going to be in the next month or two.
My trailer's packed. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
When does it happen? The question is it appropriate to be excited for it when it inevitably gets announced?
I am looking through things. Most of what I wanted to come out is under some sort of delay.
Yeah, same here. Like Gamers Grotto, gave me the heads up that Space Venture from the two guys from Andromeda, the guys who did Space Quest for Sierra back in the day, they were supposed to release that in February. Now it's delayed to Q1 of 2025. So it's like, okay, again with the delays. Like I would really like to. I would really like that game, but it looks like it fits in with all their usual stuff.
Does it ever strike you as weird when developers delay a game and delay a game and delay a game, and then when it finally comes out and nobody's impressed with it, they just act like they don't know why?
Well, I think that's I think there's a couple points there with that type of thing that kind of need to be addressed. One, yeah, it's the game's delayed. The more they delay the game, the more people expect like something monumental.
Not anymore. We remember Duke Nukem Forever.
Well, yeah.
Oh boy, do we.
I mean, that game, honestly, I've played that game and you can tell exactly what happened. It's like, okay, so they delayed it to this point. They got to this point in the development. Then they saw this game come out. And they're like, oh, hey, that's got some neat things. So let's go in that direction for a few chapters. And then something else came out. It's like, oh, hey, let's do this. And yeah, they had no...
Which jokes were written by 3D Realms and which were written by Gearbox.
The big thing that gets me... Okay, so obviously that was the Chinese democracy of video games right there. So many years in the making, everyone's expectations built up, absolute shit pile. And obviously that's what I'm dreading happening with Bloodlines 2, now that it's been in development hell for how long since before the pandemic?
Yeah.
And they've already completely gutted that game once and started over.
And that's always been my fear with 7 Days to Die as well. It's like that was in development and in alpha for shit. I think they went over a decade before they finally released version 1.0, and it's like they kept trying to update it to modern technology, and then, you know, technology would take another leap forward, and they'd be like, oh, well, shit, now we got to redo all this stuff. It's like, no. Stick with a theme, stick with a style, and just do it. Don't try and play catch up. Like, one of the biggest successes that I've seen, well, it's been a few years now. It's been quite a few years now. But Thimbleweed Park, an 8-bit point-and-click adventure game. Pixelized to hell, but it was, you know, they had an idea, they had a style that they wanted to go with, and they just went with it, and it worked because they didn't try and catch up to modern technology and stuff like that.
The Rusty Lake games, similar. Very
Like,
simple concept. Occasionally they put in FMV, but that's it.
yeah, like with 7 Days to Die, it was like originally it looked like Minecraft, and everybody's like, okay, cool, and then they're like, no, we want much more realistic graphics. And it's like, oh, okay. And they just kept trying to you know, they're like, okay, so we coded like all of this portion of the game we've done, where we did it in this, and then, you know, we did it in this game engine, and then they came out with a new version, so we had to recode and redo everything for the new game engine. And it's like, why are you trying to you're never going to keep up. Just
Put your game out.
yeah, stick with the theme, stick with a story, and just go with it.
And that's why indie games are kicking so much ass lately.
Yeah.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, anyone?
I did have a friend get me a copy of Hogwarts Legacy. Apparently they got it for dirt cheap, which is good, because I told him, like, there's no way in hell I'm going to fucking there's no way in hell that I'm gonna put like $70 towards that game. Just, yeah.
Not with its many dog whistles on top of it all.
Yeah. But I'll probably wind up playing that at some point on the channel, but it's like, yeah.
I don't know, putting it out in development hell for years kind of annoys me, but I also kind of have the opposite problem when it comes to the new Borderlands. Which is
No Man's Sky themselves?
It's such an obvious, oh, we fucked up, we need to cover our ass. Because, like, Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3 took, 7 years between them? And Borderlands 3 was already lackluster, you know, when the facts, everybody who ever played Borderlands was like, this was not the game that we deserved. But then they came out with the movie, which tanked even worse than they could have ever hoped for. And now suddenly they're pushing 4 out the door, like, oh, hey, Borderlands 4 is coming out, you guys can enjoy the game again. I was like, oh.
Never mind that movie thing.
I was like, that is such an obvious, oh fuck, we put so much cash into that and it tanked and the negative press is piling up. We need something to distract and get our money back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Borderlands movie, one thing that I would say probably would have helped it a lot. It's just pay the actor who played Claptrap in the games to be in the movie.
Well, I mean, they could have done that with so many characters. Because, like, Creed keeps his mask on, so you never see his mouth move. You could have dubbed him over. You could have dubbed Claptrap over. And if you were going to include most of these Vault Hunters, they at least put the timeline, right? Don't just throw the damn group together.
Yeah. But particularly with Claptrap, because it's like Claptrap was a fan favorite, and then you have Jack Black of all fucking people. Like Mr. I'm just gonna throw things out the window and do my own thing. It's like, no, just
Black
no.
Could have made it work. That's my issue with it. Jack Black could have made it work. The problem is they took the running gag and went the wrong way with it. Because the whole running gag with Claptrap is that he is annoying and he does get abused, but it's in like sort of a lovable way where you do eventually find it kind of charming.
Yeah.
And then they took that with the movie and they like just went the opposite way with it. He's legitimately annoying and I legitimately want to do him harm.
It's Jack Black being given creative freedom.
Well, I mean, Jack Black's had some good roles where he is annoying, but in a way that you can find him adorable. So it's like, that's what pissed me off.
Okay,
I know he could have done it.
Here's the thing. Name the movies that he's done that.
Orange County, Biodome. Let's see, what else? We had Be Kind Rewind. We had The Jackal.
And how many of those were before he was a big star?
Oh, and The House with the Clock in Its Walls. Let's not forget that one.
Like I said, how many of them were from before he was a big star and could name his price?
That was after he was a big star and also starred Cate Blanchett. Which is honestly probably how they got him for Borderlands.
Yeah, but most of the ones that you named were from before he was a name, before he had made a name for himself, before he was like, oh hey, I'm the big star, and I should be able to do things. I think I should do it this way, and they're like, okay, you're Jack Black, you go for it.
We'll see that. I would agree with that, and there are times I do. But yeah, there's also things like School of Rock and Brutal Legend, which people love, and yeah, that's Jack taking creative control. So I think what it is that there's a writer who didn't know what the fuck he was doing and was pushing people to follow the script rather than to actually have fun and follow the source material.
The biggest problem I have with Jack Black and a lot of comedians in that type of an area is they all want to be Bill Murray. They all want to be able to say, okay, the script looks good, I'm going to throw it out and do my own thing. It's like Bill Murray was a very unusual actor. I guess is a very unusual actor. He still acts a little bit every now and then, but it's like, he was able to do that because he knew what he was doing. He knew the character. He knew what type of role it was. I mean, you look at Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Every single one of the new Ghostbusters at that point wanted to be Bill Murray. They wanted to ad-lib, and oh god, what was his name? Paul something or rather.
Paul Rudd?
No. This is the 2016.
Oh.
The
Chris Hemsworth?
No, it was the director. Oh god,
Yeah,
what was his? It was
that
Paul
one.
something.
Verhoeven?
Hang on, let me look it up. Paul Feig. Paul Feig basically said, "Hey, well, they all know how to do ad lib. They're all, they've all done they're all professional comedians and stuff like this. I'm just going to let them do whatever the fuck they want."
Problem with that being that you have 4 completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Like unleashing Chevy Chase on a set ×4.
Well,
Pretty much,
the problem, they're following the old formula from the 80s and the glory days, which is get the SNL cast, throw them together, and then let them improv, which was great when you had Chevy and Bill and, all of them. It doesn't work with the new generation because they all have their own styles.
Actually, let me see something here.
I also think too that a lot of people are referring to Robin Williams in The Birdcage. He just improv like almost the whole thing because he's like, I'm Robin Williams, but he was cool about it. He would be like, okay, we're just going to run with this. But everybody loves the movie, but are they really into the improvisation of the movie?
Well, Robin's improv was different because Robin could read a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like improv can work if you understand the character. If you understand what what it is you're supposed to be portraying. The problem is a lot of people these days say, "Oh, well, I'll do improv," and they don't really look at anything as far as, well, what would thinking about, okay, what would my character do? Get into my character's headspace. What would my character do? What would they say?
Yeah,
they say, "Oh, well, what would I say? What would be funniest to say?" And it's like that.
Are they really channeling Bill Murray or Chevy Chase because a lot of people now, or even 10 years ago, who's Ghostbusters? Who's Bill Murray? So trying to emulate them, I don't think they can because they don't know the character and they don't know the actor.
Well, the other thing is that, much as people hate to admit it, Chevy and Bill and them were all really good as products for their time. Like, once the zeitgeist changed, their style of comedy didn't fit as well. Bill was able to keep up because he's just that good. But, like, if you had taken a Chevy Chase movie, I'm trying to think of that one where he something happens to his brain, he develops psychic powers. I don't remember the title of it.
The Man with Two Brains?
No, that was Steve Martin.
Oh. It's not Fletch. It's the one where he snorts all the cocaine and goes, I like it.
Yes, that one. Although it wasn't cocaine, it was gree dust.
Oh.
Well, I mean, as far as Chevy Chase, just look at Community.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is the old Chevy Chase wouldn't have worked today because it was very much a product of its time. And new Chevy Chase is kind of just he somewhat plays up the doddering old man, but then still has shades of the old Chevy coming through.
Yeah, well, shades. I would say just it's a very thin mask.
Yeah.
I mean, look at stand-up comedians like Andrew Dice Clay. Obviously, his type of comedy would not work these days. So he took his income, his wealth, and said, "I've already bought the house that I want to live in. I'm done."
Yeah. But what I was saying is, like, a lot of that was because they made fun of the times. But then Robin's improv never made fun of the time. It made fun of the times, but he did the research specifically on the type of character that he was playing. So, like, there's a story that, like, when he was playing in Mrs. Doubtfire, and he realized that he's going to have to play a cross-dresser, he didn't know anything about it. And luckily, the guy they got to play his brother, who is that, Harvey Fierman? He is openly gay and was a drag performer for a while.
I was going to say,
hey, I don't know anything about drag performance. Can you teach me? Yeah, I heard we're all crossing over.
Yeah.
Sorry, not kind. What were you saying?
Wasn't Robin Williams' brother, wasn't he the makeup artist?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But also both Robin Williams and Bill Murray could do the comedy, the ad-lib comedy, but then they could also do the ad-lib serious.
1 hour photo.
And I think that's the point where a lot of the people that are like, oh, well, I was on SNL, I know what's funny, I can ad-lib. It's like, yeah, but even in a comedy movie, you still have to be serious at times.
Yes.
You can't just be all jokes. It's you have to you have to be serious. That was the problem I had with Matt Smith as the doctor for like the first season or two that he was in the role. Is he could do the comedy great, he could do the goofiness great, but when it came to being serious, it was it was almost like there was a cut there. Then it's like, okay, you have to be serious. It's like, okay, it's like there was no transition. It wasn't. It was almost like somebody who was just absolutely bipolar, rather than somebody who is an actual person that's a nuanced person.
And I always wondered if that's why they tried to write into the story that he's the traumatized personality that is running away from everything and trying to be goofy. And I was like, okay, but that was just Tenet. That was Tenet's whole thing, was that he was tired of being hurt, being pain, and being guilty, so he wanted to be goofy.
Yeah, it's like, with Matt Smith, at least with the first two seasons, it was, he'd be joking around and stuff like that, and all of a sudden he's just screaming, and it's like you don't see that hey, the jokiness is a mask, and the mask slips off. It just flat out just disappears. And it's like that. No, you're not seeing into the character. You're just seeing, almost an entirely different character.
They see the demeanor, but not the nature.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly is why I did kind of like when they made John Hurt the War Doctor. Because it's just what is the word I want? Starts with a D.
On that note, Paul McGann coming back and giving us a different facet of the Eighth Doctor. I'm going to go grab more stuff real quick.
Okay.
Was autonomy between him and Tenet. I can see that. Like, I can see Hurt being I have to be serious, but I have to remember how to be funny every now and then. And then Tenet is I want to be funny, but I can still remember how to be serious.
Yeah. And having Christopher Eccleston in between the two really fit in with that.
Yeah, because he was conflicted. He didn't know which one he was supposed to be anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, thankfully, after the first couple seasons, Matt Smith did get better. He actually figured out that, oh, hey, I have to show that, I can be goofy and I can be funny and stuff like that, and then just kind of like, but I have to show like the shoulders drooping and the smile fading before getting into the serious shit.
Yeah, once they retooled his doctor as more of like the consummate trickster, it worked a lot better. Did we ever decide how we felt about their writing with Jodie's doctor?
I mean, I only saw bits and pieces of it because about that time, I got rid of cable and the BBC didn't have a place to stream Jodie Whittaker's Doctor or Peter Capaldi's Doctor, really.
Peters was interesting. Peters was definitely he's coming into the legend, but is still awkward. But yeah, there were choices made during Jody's run that were not things that people would have chosen.
Okay.
I love having dynamic cam on because it just switched to Rask with his food. I was like, this is what you're watching now.
It's true. Everyone's here for my weird ass recipes.
Oh.
This recipe starts with me stir-frying baked beef with peanut butter in a soup pot. Yes, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, peanuts and peanut butter are in a lot of recipes outside of the U.S.
I can't say anything tonight because apparently my go-to fixing for meals anymore has been Parmesan, oregano, mustard, and mayonnaise.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. I was sitting there, like, tonight was on Italian sausages and fries, so, it wasn't too bad. But then I was sitting there thinking of all the other stuff I could put it on. I was like, this should be disgusting, but for some reason I don't mind it, and that should be concerning me. They say that what you crave is what your body needs, and I have no idea what the hell mine is trying to tell me it needs.
I mean, honestly, I use homemade mayo for a sauce in a lot of things. It sounds weird, but it's good.
Well, I mean, mayonnaise is a great binder.
I mean, I would say you really kind of got to go with homemade, and for the love of God, leave the mustard out. Because the one thing that I tried putting mustard in it once with the same stuff that I usually do, like, I put granulated onions, granulated garlic, curry or chili powder in it. I tried it once with putting the mustard in, and it killed all the flavor. It's like everybody complains, people who don't like mayonnaise are like, oh, it's too bland. It's like, yeah, you're getting the shit that's got the mustard in it, and if you leave that out, it's so much better. You actually get flavor.
Mustard is such a strong flavor on its own that even when it's just ground, you have to be very careful in what you add it to.
I mean, I put 1/8 of a teaspoon in, and it just, like I said, it killed all flavor. It was bland as hell. I'm like, fuck.
I'll use it as a binder for steak or something, but I don't use it as like a flavor anymore. I just use French's if I want to do that shit.
I mean, my binder is going to be things like flaxseed or...
So did we move on to the foods that are great except for one fucking thing?
I mean, maybe.
We do go through all sources of media in this show.
I mean, if there's one type of food for me that's just like, that just has one feature that's just like, nope, it's got to be pears. I cannot get over the innate gritty texture of it. It's just...
Yeah, I could see that.
Pears, the off-brand apple.
Reminds me of that joke about how life never gave us lemons.
It's true.
I like that you know the joke.
I know the history.
Exactly.
Like, I saw that one. I'm like, all right, let me look it up. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's what makes it so funny, is because you're like, there's no way. You look it up and you're like, oh, well, in that case. It also
Okay.
makes a great argument for me to like just tell people to stop their bitching. When life gives me lemons, life didn't give you shit. You made that lemon. Deal with it. Take responsibility for your abominations against nature.
I'm reminded of a coworker suddenly when I was at Jet's Pizza. And we were talking about cloned meat being a thing. At the time, I was all gung-ho for it. And still kind of am. I would want the meat for Olive here. So, we have someone telling us, one of our staff members, he's extremely religious and he keeps screaming that cloned meat is an abomination. And all I can do is just keep looking him in the eye and going, delicious, delicious abomination.
I think we had this conversation before, and I told you that you should, had you known of it at the time, you should have just introduced him to the concept of Ouroboros meat. That's my favorite type of abomination.
My brother-in-law will often talk about the idea that when cloned meat becomes commonplace, people will clone a meat of themselves and bring it to dinner parties.
That's what Ouroboros meat is. It is
Okay.
meat made from your own cells. That's why they call it Ouroboros, because you're eating yourself.
See,
And
that's
I'm never serving that to Olive. I don't need to give her ideas.
yeah. I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, this goes back way back to like the beginning, one of the first couple of years of my channel was, I don't remember how we got on the topic, but we got on the topic of cannibalism. And my thought was, I'm like, that's just, you got to be really careful who you eat. Because that's the whole thing with pork, is it's like pork is close enough to human meat that, you have to make sure to cook it very thoroughly in order to prevent any transmission of diseases. Now, you talk about a human meat, it's like, you're just asking to get a disease at that point.
Hello, prions.
I was about to say, that goes back to the Donner Party and the fact that ingesting human meat just gives you prion disease immediately.
Yeah, you think trichinosis is bad. Hey.
Hey, and if it's Ouroboros meat, you have no one to blame but yourself, quite literally.
Well, it's like with rabbits. Rabbit liver is apparently close enough to human that if the rabbit has a liver disease, you can get it just from eating the liver.
Or any of that rabbit. If you hunt rabbit, you have to check the liver to make sure that the meat is good.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do that still with beaver. If you look at the liver, then yeah, if it's covered in white spots, do not eat that meat. So yes.
And this
Yeah.
loops us back around to AI, because I found a news story where someone had started rolling out an AI app to identify mushrooms.
Oh, God.
That's where this was going.
Oh, no.
Someone posted a picture of theirs, and they're showing it a fairly innocuous looking white mushroom. And the AI goes, "Oh yes, you appear to have found a white button mushroom. It's a 98% match. Feel free to eat it." Everyone in the foraging group who actually forages was like, "Do not eat that. That is a destroying angel. If you eat that, they will be able to pour out your own liquefied liver from your corpse."
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Putting AI in charge of, hey, is this going to kill me? That can't go wrong at all.
Putting AI in charge of just about anything is a bad idea.
Especially anything that requires, what is the word, finesse in recognizing very minute details.
Oh, hell. There are people who are, I mean, Elon Musk has tried touting that, oh, yes, his what is it, Grok? AI, oh yeah, it can diagnose your medical conditions. It can diagnose X-rays and MRIs and all of this stuff. It's like, no, it can't.
Well, that's reverting to the conversation of the dumbing down of America. That AI is coming in and saying, well, yeah, you can do this. You can eat that mushroom.
I can take
Everybody
a
can
step
eat a
further.
mushroom once.
But
I can take a step further back, because I was going to ask earlier, is Elon immune to his own deportation? Because did he ever get naturalized?
yes, he is naturalized, but he did lie when he came to America. He had strictly a student visa, but he was running
Right, and then he
businesses.
started a business, yeah. So he falsified his visa.
So
when's
yeah,
he going
technically he could still be deported.
Yeah, when's he going back to South Africa?
The moment that Trump gets pissed off enough at him.
I was about to say, I love these assholes who come up to me and they're like, Elon Musk is a real American. I'm like, he's South African.
And honestly, he would probably be deported to Canada.
No,
Because
Canada would.
No, he left South Africa when he became old enough that he had to do his mandatory 2-year stint in the army. So he went to live with his mother in Canada and then got a student visa for the United States. So technically he would probably be deported to Canada first. Which is just another reason that Canada should fucking hate every goddamn last ounce of the United States.
That should also leads us to the question of how vindictive is Canada feeling that day? Because they could easily just be like, all right, we're deporting you back to your country of origin. Or they could be like, so we're going to be deporting you, but you're going to stick around and you are not going to like what happens while you stick around.
I mean, Canada does have a really bad reputation for well, I wouldn't say so much violating international law and committing war crimes.
Oh, how did that comedian I follow put it? Was Canada, we don't commit war crimes, but once we go to war, there are certainly a lot more crimes that we're not supposed to do.
Yes, they don't really commit war crimes because they're not crimes yet, but they're the foundation of a lot of international war laws.
Wait. Let's outer. God damn it! What is that game that we love? You know the one. Outer Worlds. Let's Outer Worlds this. We'll make it a snappy slogan. Canada, we don't commit war crimes. We invent them.
Yes. I'm sure they could come up with something for Elon.
I mean, just the fact that he's in Canada, birthplace of war crimes. He's South African. He was born during apartheid. They have a field day of ideas they could probably come up with.
I mean, and he loves saying that supposedly he left South Africa because he didn't want to be in the military, to fight for apartheid South Africa. But he didn't really have a problem with apartheid South Africa until it was, you are now of the age you have to join the military for 2 years. Then all of a sudden then he had a problem with it. And it wasn't so much he had a problem with it, he had a problem fighting for it. It's kind of like, government spending, government waste. I have a problem with that. Well, except for the $7 million that the U.S. government just spent for the past week for his stupid little boy club.
So I had to explain that to my family because they hadn't heard that Elon was surpassing Bezos yet, and they asked how it was possible. And I was like, look, Bezos, not a nice person. I'd still call him a piece of shit. But the biggest difference between him and Elon, as far as I know, I'm still researching, is that while Bezos has used Amazon to have a chokehold on fucking everything from distribution to manufacturing, he never went into military contracts. Elon, on the other hand,
Oh yeah, get the government to rely on you and then jack up the price.
Exactly. Take every military contract you can, deliver subpar results because it's the military and they expect that shit, and then run.
I still love the fact that Elon Musk is supposedly working with Boeing to get a rush on the new aircraft that are supposed to be used for Air Force One. The man who has no engineering background whatsoever is working with an airplane manufacturer that is known for taking shortcuts and putting out shoddy product, are going to be flying the president around.
I was still laughing at the suggestion that he should have just named the company Edison.
Yeah. Well, he didn't name the company.
But that was, they're like, it's the exact perfect example. The company was already named Tesla. He stole their ideas. He's stolen everybody else's, passing them off as their own. That's not Tesla. That's Edison.
Oh, he didn't even steal their ideas. He just stole the company. He's actually worse than Edison.
I was supposed to say, I think even Edison is be like, I don't know if I should congratulate you because I didn't think of this or just hate you.
Like, yeah, Edison had people invent the things and then took the ownership of the patent, but he didn't let them build the company, build the product, and then say, oh, by the way, I'm just buying all this. This is all now mine.
I still love the fact that we're acting like worldwide Wi-Fi and all of that is new and exciting, and nobody had ever thought of it before. It was like that was Tesla's entire thing. He wanted to do this way back when. They called him insane.
Except for he wanted to give it to people at cost.
Well, yeah, but he still wanted to do a worldwide network.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is saying, hey, if you don't pay me a shit ton of money, I'm going to cut off your internet during the middle of a war.
Okay, did you just join the group, decide not to follow the rules, and just leave? I hate it when you people do that.
Okay, I'm guessing you're talking about your game. I'm like, wait, what? Who left?
No, I'm talking about a social group that I run. The furry one on Telegram. No, actually, it's even worse. They joined the group, they followed all the rules, they posted a ref sheet, and then they fucked off without even entering chat.
Oh,
what did
jeez.
you didn't like? I got one of the most deeply concerning messages I've ever gotten last week. And you know some of the messages I've gotten, so you know how bad this is that I say this. Someone joined the group, then messaged me and told me that they were leaving instantly because they were uncomfortable. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. What is making you uncomfortable? And they said, I'm uncomfortable because I read your rules and you seem to have a very strict bias against those who like underage art. I was like, you know what?
What?
Blocked? Get the fuck out of my group.
Cool. That's...
I don't even know what the fuck I just read.
Yeah, that's the point where it's just like, yeah. Do not let the door hit you on the way out.
No, I actually broke my own rules and like I screenshotted that shit with full name and everything, all their contact info that they had handed me. Posted it to the group. It was like, hey, fucking avoid.
Yeah.
What is it with people saying their quiet part out loud these days? Don't get me wrong, it alerts the rest of us to what we're dealing with, but damn.
Hey, here's the better question. Why is it even the quiet part? Why does that enter your head?
Damn.
It was the fact they said it so openly and boldly. I was like, what makes you think that this is okay?
Yeah. Just, ugh.
And then they tried to debate me.
No, there is no debate.
Yeah, before I could block them, they sent me this huge ass message of like, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to do anything. But I think it's wrong that you're judging people for their kink. I was like, it's not a kink. First off,
It's not a kink. It's a crime. There's a
like,
very big difference there.
it's not even a crime. It's just, oh my god.
No, it's like, yeah, it's a crime. It's a crime for a very good fucking reason.
I need to put the rest of the stew in a container. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yes, please run away from this conversation. Maybe we can change the subject.
You have until I get back to keep me from turning it into a conversation about cooking children.
I'd rather talk about cooking children. Do you think they'd be better boiled or broiled?
Broiled. Makes them all crispy.
I was gonna say, boiling is the worst form of cooking there is.
Technically not, because when you
No.
make if you boil it correctly, it renders the fat and still leaves the meat juicy.
But boiling actually saps out the nutrients into the water. So if you don't drink the broth as well, you are losing a lot of nutrients.
I mean,
The longer something
boiling it
cooks, the less nutritious it is. So if you boil a bunch of vegetables, take them out of the water and then serve the vegetables and discard the water, that water's got a lot of the nutrients that were in the vegetables to begin with.
Well, now we're going back to the conversation of eating raw meat.
And cannibalism. Isn't it lovely how circuitous we can make this show?
That's what I was gonna say. Something about something you had mentioned, Nightkind. As far as like AI dumbing down the population, as far as like medical, reviewing medical procedures and giving medical advice and advising people on what mushrooms they can eat and stuff. It is dumbing them down, but it's also getting rid of the dumb ones. So it's kind of balancing out.
I forgot to say that. We're not going to be seeing a lot of AI for much longer, apparently.
Okay.
Because they fucked up.
Oh, God.
Okay, so the core of AI is that it learns by scraping every corner of the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what they didn't program and what they didn't account for is that more and more and more people are using AI for more and more stupid shit, which means more and more and more of the internet is now becoming AI. So the AI is scrubbing, and what it's scrubbing is AI results, so the AI is now trying to copy AI and will eventually become an Ouroboros that kills itself over overload.
Cannibalism. Why?
I mean-
Why are we having this cannibalism story conversation?
I mean, to be fair, when Google introduced their AI results at the top of every search, 9 times out of 10 where their AI was getting the information was fucking Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in and of itself, it's like, it's like, oh yeah, you can get AI results. It'll boil it down to something consumable. It's like, and every single time it's referencing fucking Reddit. Do you guys not, do you not know what your source is?
Well, I was looking at the tales of the people who are now using them for school, who like they'll get things like they'll get assigned Othello, or the grand speeches, or even if they're in the private religious schools, they'll get assigned like the apostles' speeches or something like I can't remember the name right off of them. I'm not religious. Don't get on me. But because they're boiling it down with AI, like, yeah, so basically you're getting what an AI tells you it's saying, and everything important, especially in the religious context, anything human about it is completely fucked. So Yeah, your generation deserves whatever it gets.
Were you thinking of the word parable, maybe?
Maybe parables. I want to say not testify. I used to know it. Like it's to witness and to attest.
Testimonials?
Maybe that one, yeah.
I'm just
No, that was the word. Testament. Right on my...
Oh.
whatever part of this I walked in on, I now feel much better about back when I used the entire Monophysite heresy to make a D&D campaign.
At least you didn't do it with fucking AI.
No, I did it with my own horrifying upbringing.
But see, that gives it flavor.
It's true. I wound up deciding, let's see, if I decided this is how the hypostasis worked, and then the Catholic Church, or what would become the Catholic Church, convinced me that if X equals B, B equals Y, then color bleen.
How many times have we had somebody like compliment us on an idea or a story, and we had to bite our tongues before we said thanks? It's the child abuse.
It wasn't, well,
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be able to say that, but you know.
I mean, the lesser cousin of thanks. It's the trauma.
I'm just going to say parochial school system sucks.
All right. Anything else we want to bring up tonight? Because I am starting to fade, and we've been going for about 2.5 hours now.
The inevitable heat death of the universe.
I still think we've got a ways before we get to that.
Do we-
Unfortunately.
Heat death?
Newtonian heat death.
I mean, there's the heat death. There's the because we're expanding, we're going to lose all of our heat, and it's going to be a freeze. Then there's the big crunch. What's your favorite way to go?
I just know what I want done with my body.
In the millions and billions and trillions of years that it's going to take for this to happen?
I just want something quick and immediate.
Right. That's pretty much how I want to go right now.
It's
I
like,
just want my skin turned into a book binding for a book I write. Done.
So you want to make a grimoire phylactery?
Yes!
Okay. I always said that I wanted to be stuffed and made into an animatronic so I could scare the shit out of my grandkids.
I just want it to be like, son, I need this book. Can you grab your uncle off the shelf?
So Rasclin wants to be the Necronomicon. Caden wants to be a reverse Five Nights at Freddy's.
Which is great because we could actually pair up our corpses. I could be holding the Rasclin.
Oh, gods. That would be what they would call the book, the Rasclinomicon.
No. Because if I'm the one that makes the book, I'm naming it the Cardinal Sin.
Damn it, that works.
It does. Oh, man. All right. Well, you guys want to say your good nights before I do my outro?
I think we've all thoroughly gone fucking insane. Thank you for joining us down this rabbit hole. Come again.
Night kind?
You're kind. Hey, remember, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
Unless they're into that shit.
We all have our kinks.
You don't kink shame.
But make sure you wipe it on the seat in front of you. So anyway, thank you for playing. Tip your waitress and peace out.
Tomorrow night, Over the Edge on Community Radio for East Central Illinois, 90.1 FM, WEFT Champaign. Streaming online at new.weft.org/listen.
or, you know, it's also in the link, or it's also up on the screen right over there. So, all right. As always, guys, thanks for being here, and I will see you guys later.
Later.
Night, folks.
All right. As always, thank you guys very much for being here. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to press the subscribe button. If you want to be kept up to date of when we go live and stuff like that, make sure to ring the bell, but also check out the social media links down below, the Facebook page, the Twitter account, the Tumblr account, the Blue Sky account, and the permanent invite for our Discord server, where we make sure to notify you guys of when we go live and stuff like that. All that so that you can stay tuned for more from Olav Productions. Cheerio!